So, what'd you guys think of Monday Night Raw? Let's get into it.
A little sad.
Yeah. It was kind of nuts. There was all these rumors going around saying that, Becky's got a major announcement and maybe she's pregnant, and my phone's blowing up. People asking me, is she pregnant? Is she pregnant? And I was kind of like, I don't know. My gut kind of says no, but maybe. Like,
Yeah.
there's no reason to flat out say not possible. I mean, obviously it's possible.
Yeah.
I think if she weren't, that'd be one shitty ass way to get her off TV.
Oh, as far as is she or is she not, I 100%, yes, she's pregnant. Going into the show, people were saying, do you think she's going to announce she's pregnant? And I said, I don't think so, but maybe. I think that there's no part of my being that thinks she is not actually pregnant. This is not a work. She's pregnant and she is leaving the business as of right now for an undetermined amount of time.
And there's too much emotions and reactions to be a work. They're not too good.
It's not a work.
Yeah.
I confidently will tell you it is not a work, and I don't think that's. I don't think that I would want to entertain the conversation people are having about whether it is or isn't. I'm just flat out saying this is not a work. She's pregnant. I don't think that there's a point to entertain any other conversation right now.
And my only question is how far along is she?
Yeah, I mean that was a big question too. Did she find out immediately after WrestleMania? Was she like? I mean, you just never know with that kind of stuff because you don't usually make that announcement super early.
A lot of it was taped weeks before.
Exactly. So it was taped like a week or two before Mania even was. When did she find out? And in relation to that, and at the same time, also, I mean, I don't know humans perfectly, but I wouldn't be shocked to find out someone maybe missed a period and didn't say anything or think anything of it and go to do the thing they go to do all the time, and then they missed a second one and thought, okay, maybe this is a problem. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's a little hard to say.
Well, see, my thing is that there's a lot of women that get, pregnant, and they tell you kind of don't, tell everyone basically.
Yeah.
Because the first trimester is when a lot of miscarriages happen.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. We talked about that too, and I'm glad you bring it up because I was thinking about it too. Most people won't make that announcement unless they're pretty certain. They're pretty far through part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But she's also in a different world than most people are. Most people aren't actively wrestling when they find out these things, and maybe you have to play it a little more close to the chest and or maybe a little less close to the chest, and maybe a little bit more open because probably it's more dangerous now to wrestle than ever.
No, exactly. But I also think you fake an injury until you're certain.
Well, she hasn't been on since Mania.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that, to me, she almost has to be certain that, everything's going good to announce it to the world.
Yeah.
Especially being a celebrity the way she is. Because if anything happens, God forbid, that's going to be that much rougher.
Yeah, it's going to be even harder. Yeah.
I said fake an injury for a while and then come out and say, hey, this is it.
I see what you mean. What are you going to say, Clump?
I was going to say, and we kind of led into this earlier, what did you guys think of how it was done, the promo and stuff?
I thought that was the way to do it. I don't know how else. To me, that was the way you do it that isn't sensationalized. That isn't Miz and Maurice coming out and making a huge deal of it and we're here to let the world know. This was the most honest I think it could have been and felt like, because I wouldn't be shocked to find out that Asuka knew she was about to receive the title, but my gut tells me she didn't know that either. But
yeah, I think her surprise, because she immediately was like, "I'm happy. I'm happy for you," and broke character.
Oh, what I mean, like, so what I was saying was that I think that there's a possibility Asuka knew going out there she was about to be given the world title. I don't think she knew for even a fraction of a second that Becky is pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that there's possibility she may have known she was getting the title tonight, but I don't know that even that part's true because she seemed kind of surprised about the I'm the champion. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean to discredit Asuka. I think that there's a good possibility that Asuka knew and performed that part so good that we are confident she did not know. But I don't want to discredit her and say that, like, she's not good enough to make it seem like I would know if she knew. She's probably good enough to where I wouldn't know if she knew. But at the same time, my heart tells me that the honesty and the genuineness that seemed to be in her face, that I don't feel like she knew. And whether that's true or not, I guess it really doesn't matter. I felt like Asuka was finding out for the first time that she's suddenly a champion. And then she came out to find out not only is she champion, but one of her best friends is also going to be a mother. And I think we saw a lot of that emotion play out from both sides. And it was, I don't know how you do it better. I don't know how you do it more honestly.
I don't know how it would have. I don't know how it would have gone in front of a live crowd because I think it was very well structured and very poetic.
Mm-hmm.
But part of me feels like in front of a live crowd, throwing it at the very end like they did, it's a great TV moment. It's a great like Game of Thrones moment to say I'm this. But it felt a bit weird to me. I don't know how you could have done it better.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you said I'm relinquishing this because of this and talked about it, it could be good, but I don't know if it would have the impact of how it came out.
Yeah, I don't know that it could have been better with the crowd, for sure. Because I think that, like you said, for her to say, you go be a warrior, I'm going to go be a mother, it was quiet. And Asuka's quiet moment of, mother? And then she goes, really? Like, that would have been washed out. You wouldn't have heard that.
Yeah, big time.
We would have had Corey Graves being like, did she just say she's going to be a mother? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we would have had the commentators trying to get across what we couldn't hear because the crowd's been chanting Becky this whole time or booing that she's losing the title or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
producer.
Yeah.
I like that it was just let the women talk.
Yeah.
That it wasn't like, oh, let's bring in all the male outside, like, announcers and stuff like that.
Like, they had the men sit out. They had the announcers kind of sit out and just said, give Becky and Asuka their chance.
Which I saw Carmella, she went live on Instagram today with Corey.
Yeah.
And Corey was like, well, and also Rollins, congratulations. And Carmella's like, oh yeah, congratulations to Rollins. And I'm like, okay, yes, but at the same time, his career isn't being upended. I can't, I understand, there's two parents. Yeah, only one of them has to completely get out of the game. It's a different conversation.
There's a different sacrifice he will be making moving forward, and it is nowhere near close to the sacrifice she is making at this moment.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about someone who was just in Billions and has been going to movie premieres and has been getting a lot of buzz. It was signed on to Marvel. She was signed on to be in a Marvel movie, and now what does that look like? Is it the same? Is it better? Is it different? Is it not? I don't know. Here was someone with a lot of Hollywood buzz and someone who had more star power in the industry than her gender has ever seen in that industry at all, bar none. She elevated the industry's ability to look at women's wrestling. So for her to have to step away for an indefinite amount of time is not the same as Seth Rollins going to miss the first steps of his son or daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different sacrifice. She's walking away from an awful fucking lot.
Everything.
Yeah.
But
we don't know if she's
that's one thing I was going to say. Do you think Seth should have been out there too?
I don't know, man. I mean...
I don't think so.
Yeah, I kind of say no. I say you give that to Becky.
Yeah.
And I say that you let Seth's character play out the way that it does. Like, what you do is you make a 24. You film the backstage and you put that out on the network later. You see the Seth crying in the back later. But for right now, for my TV, you let Seth come out disheveled and weird.
But And I didn't like that.
I felt
Yeah?
like he just heard the news, is what I was laughing the whole time.
I felt like the timing of that played out kind of poorly, but because I don't think
I think it played out very poorly.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
Especially for the little promo that him and Ray had. Ray's like, hey man, congratulations, but, you know, we're going to have a match. And then him just being like, you know, a zombie, like in a stoop. And I think it was terrible.
I think it played out kind of poorly that way because I think that the idea was have Seth do that either way. He was supposed to be all upset because he didn't win the title.
Yeah.
But then they make this announcement that his not-so-secret fiance is pregnant, and now he has to come out and be like, nothing in this world matters. You're kind of like, I'm not, like, I mean, but that's also a tough call. Do you change everything about Seth's character because his wife is pregnant or his fiance is pregnant? Like,
I really don't want them to.
That's what I mean. I think it's a tough call to make because I think you got to keep Seth going in the direction he's going. And I think that you play all of the other stuff sooner than later on the network. You let Seth be on the back end.
I don't think so at all. I think you shoot an interview with Seth backstage right after the match, and he's pissed off, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Then they have this, and hey, you know, he's a messiah, he's a savior, and he's about to, you know, help bring a life into the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this should be his happiest moment, and the whole show, he's just, you know, I think if you want to play that out, you have him lose that backlash for the second time, and then you have this.
So you extend it out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I just think that it's a tough call to make. I think either way I'd be fine with. But I do think that it played out a little weird because you're like, okay, here's her crying. She's so happy about this. And here's him, Al Bundy, hair disheveled. And like, I don't know what the point is.
What was that one wrestler dude that always had his tongue out?
What?
What was his name? Snitsky or something like that? Or he was always like...
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was Gallows.
No, it was
Festus.
Gallows.
Yeah, it was Gallows as Festus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Gallows.
Yeah. Festus, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
To me, thinking about it, I almost don't want him anywhere near it. I don't want them to acknowledge it. I know they have to him because they brought it out prior.
Yeah. I think it's a tough spot, but yeah.
Well, no, and the reason I say it for a couple things. One, to what producer said, and I agree with her 100%, only one person in this couple's life is going to be upended because of this. And that doesn't mean this is a negative, but that means it has to be acknowledged. In bringing Seth into it, to me, you really walk a fine line between him being present and him becoming the focus and taking it away from her. Mm. And this, you know, to me, that's frustrating to think about because Seth didn't get over with Becky. Seth pulled away from Becky.
Yeah.
Becky was a rocket ship. And to then bring him in, my caution is, or what gives me pause is, how will this not become a Seth story and then come off that you're putting Becky in the back burner?
Yeah.
And yeah, you are, but it feels really weird. Like, I feel Becky riding off to the sunset like she is good. Down the road, you can acknowledge it. She can come out, but I don't think same night. I don't know if same month. This angle, it's weird to me.
Yeah, you definitely.
So I'm happy that she didn't or he didn't come out.
Yeah, and people.
Dan, I think you put Seth on the back burner. You don't show him the rest of the episode.
Yeah, I guess we don't know where they're going with him, so it wouldn't have mattered. He could have been gone for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have pushed it out. But I
because,
mean,
you know, if it was still a secret that Becky and Seth, you know, they've already broken that barrier that they're together. Like you said, the not so secretive fiance. like, give them their moment and stuff like that. Like I said, I just, when I found out I was going to be a dad, I didn't just sit there and be like, blank face the whole time. Because to me, with Corey and all the other commentators saying, oh, he's acting this way because he lost the championship, life is happening. Like, that trumps, you didn't win the championship.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, because I'm watching it the whole time and saying, even though the commentators are saying something, is he acting this way because he found out he's going to be a dad or because he lost the championship?
I would, 100%.
Do you
That'd be
think
my reaction
if this
for sure.
ended the show?
I thought about that too. But I think that it wouldn't have solved the question, because if we would have seen him like this the whole night, we'd be like, oh, he's fucked up, and then at the end of the show they do that, and then you would go, wait, was he like this because of that? Like, I think the question would have remained even if they put Becky at the end.
Yeah, no, I know.
But I do think that so many people shit on Becky and Seth being part of the storylines as it were and being put together, that I think if you did have him come out there, and he came out there for Roman's thing, that, I don't know, I think that people would have shit on him pretty bad, and I think that, I don't know, I think they just was protecting him a little bit. And I mean, I agree, it came out a little weird and a little bad that he was disheveled after all that shit and made it look like the belt was more important than his family. But I don't know, I think that from my perspective, I'd rather him play out the wrestling thing.
Sorry.
Or just
if you put it at the end like Clump said,
yeah,
then it can snap him out of the funk he was in.
Yeah, but then how do you put him back in the funk? Like, we don't know where they're going with this right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I think the best idea is to just put this Seth storyline off for a week, but then does it matter? Do you see him a week later and see him in a slump and you think he's had a week to celebrate being a dad and now he's upset again about this title? Like, what the fuck? I don't think there's any way out of it.
I think it must be.
Yeah, but the funk, he tried to apologize afterwards. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you, right?
Oh, yeah, kind of.
Must be such a world.
So he came out of the funk anyways.
Yeah.
Because she's over there, like, having to leave it. So, I mean, that must suck, too, to be in that, that relationship, having to experience that for someone else that loves this as much as you do.
Yeah. That's true, too. In a sense, he could even be mourning what she had ahead of her. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
So, I mean, it's weird. Definitely weird the way they're going with Seth right now. But I'm interested in it.
I just don't want them to trivialize it. That's my worry.
The pregnancy thing?
You know what I mean? Like, making this become something where you have to either go all in on it or not acknowledge it in my eyes, because if you tiptoe around it, it almost becomes a parody of the situation, and that, to me, then diminishes Becky for him.
Yeah, but I think that's why you let Becky have her time alone with this one. You let Seth do his thing, and then you kind of let that be the end of it. I don't know that you keep bringing it up after this.
Yeah, I think that's the right route.
And then I think you put out a special, a Becky Chronicle or a Becky 24 of her and Seth talking about this whole thing, and maybe Seth even says it's kind of ridiculous. I have to do this. I have to be this way, and inside I just want to jump and scream and be excited. Like, you let that be a network thing. But
what if he is a massive cunt about it, though?
That'd be so great. They do like a 24, and he's all like, "You're stupid. You're stupid. I don't know what you're fucking doing here. I don't know why you're doing this."
Why did you
do this? It's a chronicle of him bitching.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
What are you thinking?
This bullshit.
Yeah. No. Do you guys think that Becky ever comes back? That's been a question that I've been asked a bunch today.
Yeah.
I hope that this isn't a moment of finality. I think that she can come back and perform. I think that we've seen people who are mothers perform.
Yeah.
I want to see her do it on her terms. I don't want it to become a very over-the-top story of her coming back, where they highlight and focus on that moment. I want her to be Becky, come back and be the man no matter what. That's my thought. If she doesn't come back, to me, that's a long conversation of, if it's anything other than her not wanting to come back, of what is the equality here? You know?
The equality?
Well, like, if she can't come back, and I understand, like, this is two different people. If she doesn't come back, and it were a conversation of why can't she come back, is this related to her having a child? And it kind of makes me wonder, well, why is Seth still going on? You get what I mean?
Right. I don't think the question is, will she be allowed to come back?
Oh, yeah.
I think the only thing that would stop her coming back is her personal desire to come back. And I don't know that, I don't even know if that's right, because I don't think that there'll ever be a lack of desire to come back. But I think that it would be silly to not acknowledge the fact that having a kid changes a lot of things. We don't know if she's going to have one kid and want another one right away and be out several years. I mean, this could be 5-6 years down the line before we ever see her again. I kind of feel that my gut tells me we'll see her in Hollywood before we see her in a ring again. But
yeah.
I also feel that she can come back to that Stone Cold schedule. Come back a couple times a year, make a big pop, get people excited for someone, and maybe 5-6 years down the line, after doing a bunch of those one-shot things at a Mania, that maybe she comes back for one run and gets a retirement match against the next person she wants to put over. Like, maybe. But I think that the reality is we have to look at this honestly, that this could be the end of the Becky Lynch wrestling. We might not see another match with her.
Well, yeah, and having kids, it changes your body, it changes everything.
Yeah.
And, she might not be able to perform.
Yeah, that was one of Brie Bella's big things. She kept saying that the reason she wasn't as good of a wrestler anymore was because she had kids.
Bullshit, but...
Yeah.
But she was never a good wrestler to begin with.
Well, she didn't train.
And she also wasn't really training.
Nikki was training, and I think it showed.
Yeah, but Becky has, a solid work ethic.
Yeah. And Beth Phoenix did it.
Like you said, I think it's going to be her choice if she comes back or not. But I think she'll come back to the company in one capacity or another.
I think so too. I think that we'll see her some way or another. But if we see her in cameos versus anything else, like, I think she can do anything she wants to in this business. This is what she wants. I also think that if she ends up becoming a trainer over at Seth Rollins' school, fucking rebrand that shit Legends Academy. Fuck. You got Seth and Becky training people. They're just fucking Legend Factory at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I felt like it was a lot to take in. It was really cool to see her trying not to just outright laugh at Asuka because of how amazing Asuka is running around and being a goof, and trying not to just stand there and bawl her eyes out. Like, I can't think of a time I've seen someone who seemed so torn with what they felt like was the right decision and the hardest decision at the same time.
Yeah.
That was the one and only time I liked Asuka's stupid dancing.
Yeah.
Dancing's hilarious. I felt like she really needed, as a good friend, it seemed like she was like, oh, you're feeling like shit because this is a big moment. I'm going to make you smile and laugh. I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think Asuka was just so happy for her, and I thought that was so sweet.
What is that? What your impression was of it, Kevlar? Is that why you actually liked her dancing?
Well, she's always done those stupid dancing, and I've never liked it. I don't, I'm not a big Asuka fan at all.
Yeah.
But it fit for that situation.
It did. It fit really well.
I could see Seth when she tells him that news, and Seth's dancing like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like I said, it's the first time it actually fit and made sense.
Yeah.
Hey, let's be goofy. This is great. We're celebrating. I'm champion. You're, pregnant, and let's celebrate.
Yeah, I mean it did fit. I really liked that Asuka broke into Becky chants. I liked that as Becky's walking away from the ring, you can see Asuka just behind her, by herself in a ring that you can tell is not even lit anymore, and you can see her fist going like this, and you can hear her in the distance, Becky, Becky, Becky. Like, she couldn't have been more happy for her friend. And
big time. You know, she hugged her, like 3 or 4 times, and...
Yeah, and it wasn't just a hug. It was, I mean, you could see her hand rubbing her back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wow, like, yeah. I mean, just, there's so much in that.
Yeah. What other champ has had to do that? Not only that, but what other champ that's on her level has had to do something like this?
Yeah.
Well, there's been no one on her level ever.
Like,
There's never been someone on her level as far as as far as women are concerned. But even from a men's standpoint, I mean, the only thing that comes to mind is like an Edge or a Daniel Bryan who had to retire the day after they became champion. But is that even the same as having to walk away from a 1-year streak? You know, like undefeated for a year. The other thing that's so cool about this, and in a sense poetic, I guess, is her character is still so protected.
Yeah.
Her character walked away undefeated from the championship. And her character walked away from beef. Shayna never got her comeuppance, you know? Like, Ronda will never have her resolved necessarily, you know what I mean? Like, there's built-in storylines for Becky if she ever wants to come back with people who are there now. And her character, I think, is super protected in all of this, you know?
I need to get a refill. I'll be right back. Sponsored by this, thank you.
You couldn't have your producer bring a new beer to you?
No?
In front of the camera.
Yeah.
It makes me want to drink in shame.
That's the best way to drink, dude.
oh my god, mute.
No, he's fine. That's just ice.
What the hell? Alright, I'm gonna lower this then.
I forget what I was gonna say now because of all that action. But
An ice picker for 3 seconds?
yeah, ice kicker for 3 seconds.
We still have viewers. That was the loudest thing ever.
Yeah, well, no, because they're in it. They're in it for it. I think that the
We
void.
had like 4 loudest things ever.
Yeah. The void that Becky leaves, I think, may be one of the largest voids that's been left. You know what I mean? Like, even when you think about when Stone Cold left after he lost to The Rock was still there. Triple H was still there. The Undertaker's still there.
Mm-hmm.
You had people who were main event quality. Cena there. Like, you had people there. Kurt Angle there. There was no lack of star power when those guys all left at their given times. When Daniel Bryan and Edge had to walk away, there was no lack of star power in the company for their spots. It was just a matter of shifting. There has never been a star power like Becky Lynch on WWE wrestling when it comes to, or any international. I challenge the world to show me a woman with that level of star power in wrestling, ever. You know? I think she's cemented herself as a legend. She's put herself as the only woman who deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. And I think that's a hell of a void to leave. And I'm not saying that women's wrestling crumbles after this, because it'll get through. And I'm really excited to see who shines next. But I do think that there's a deflation that happens at this moment where who's going to be able to step up and say, the world needs to take notice of me. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other cool high side note to this
Brown's like,
too.
last straw for me, I'm out. I think it was the noise.
Yeah, the crazy loud noise.
Yeah.
That
That's it.
Mute.
Other cool side note to this, in addition to everything happening, what's happening, and not to try and pull away from Becky. With this, Asuka is the most winning woman in the WWE and arguably in women's wrestling ever. No one's held Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, because technically she won the Money in the Bank, Raw, SmackDown, and tag belts, and NXT.
Yeah. I mean, Bayley's the only one to win all those things first. Asuka's now the second Grand
Bayley's
Slam.
not won Money in the Bank.
Bayley has won Money in the Bank. That was called last year. But Bayley has not won the Royal Rumble. And I think we'll get there. But I do agree with she's one of the most winningest. I think Bayley's title run has been greater than that of most. I think if it weren't for Becky, I think Becky's the reason Bayley's been on the run she's been on.
Yeah. And again, I'm not pulling from Bayley. I'm just like this is an awesome thing for Asuka.
I think they could do a lot with Asuka right now. She's got so much excitement behind her, and as much as Kevlar hates every moment of her on TV, people are talking about Asuka and Otis as being two of the biggest highlights of WWE TV every week. And I think that Asuka can be a bit much for me. You know, I don't disagree with that. But I do understand that there's a lot of excitement behind her. Her as a champion could be good if they do it right on the main roster. If they give her an NXT-style push like they did, give her a streak, give her someone who has to take her down. I mean, think about the stuff she did with Nikki Cross and Ember Moon. Her and Ember Moon have, like, unfinished business for sure. I think you could do some really cool stuff, and I hope they do. I don't know. I'm bummed to see Becky go, but I guess if this is the reason, this is it, right? This is the reason you'd want someone to go. You know? Like, what better reason can someone have to leave? So,
yeah.
I don't know. Tears in our beers for the loss of Becky Lynch's future of the WWE right now.
Right now.
But cheers to Becky Lynch and all of her future endeavors, as it were.
Becky, congratulations.
Congratulations. You're a legend. And thank you so much for everything you've given to all of us wrestling fans, flat out. Was there anything else you guys wanted to mention about Becky's thing? Becky's segment?
No, I think we covered it pretty extensively.
Yeah. It was big, man. It was big. It was cool.
See.
I liked the clip they showed of Becky and Vince in the back with no audio. But,
I know, I replayed it like 3 times thinking my feed was fucking up.
yeah, so did we. We just kept, I was like, come on, what? She said something that made him laugh. What was it?
Yeah. What'd you say?
Yeah, get better at reading lips.
Too.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I'm drinking Screwball now.
oh, that stuff's so good, dude. I like the Screwball with pulp.
Oh, the peanut butter? Oh, that one's so good.
Yeah, so good.
Pulp.
Yeah, with pulp.